washed up on shore and ironically didn't know how to wash their asses and only idea of hygiene was changing their fucking underwear? I literally couldn't make this shit up, even if I wanted to.
Welcome back again on another episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. In this episode, we have a white man from the Brim podcast, I think, but this man seems to have a personal beef with black people in America. He talked about how they did not build the country, how he's so pissed at the fact that black people, African Americans, say that they built the country. If it is that easy, they should go back to their own country, Africa, and go and build their own country. Like, you look at Africa, for example, why is it not better than the United States? The fact that in his statement he referred to Africa as a country tells us so much things that we need to know. It is the fact that America is built on the back of black people. There is no going back on that one. It is fact, it has happened. This man seems to be so pissed, but I feel like he is directing his anger towards the wrong people. He should have at least directed his anger to the ancestors who used black people, who enslaved black people, instead of literally blowing it out on black people on that podcast. And I think at this point, there should be a petition signed. The equipment used for podcasts should start selling at around maybe $1 million or something, because these people will get on the podcast and literally say anything they like. And even the same people on the table will continue to encourage what they are saying. This video is getting a lot of people pissed, and they are literally dragging him to the point that the stage on the accounts that posted the part of the podcast is off. Without wasting much time, I have put together this clip. Let's hear what he has to say. Let's just get right into it.
Why don't you build your own country? You didn't build our country. You didn't build shit. Some of you worked here, yeah, but you didn't build. If that was the case, then you could build your own shit in your own country. Look at Africa. How great is that built? Tell me how great that's built over there. Wow. It's a economic powerhouse over there, isn't it?
Not wrong.
Greatest standard of living on the planet.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Didn't even invent the wheel until the 1900s.
Well, you look at what a free market does for a country. The United States is, the founding is nothing short of a miracle, and because of that, the free market, you've been able to have some innovation that has changed the world.
Didn't even invent the wheel until the 1900s.
So I ain't gonna hold you that long, my man, because I don't want you screaming America on me. But I just had to let you know that Africa's not a country. So if you pay for that education, I think you need a refund. My job is not to educate you, but I just had to let you know that when you speak, we don't take it serious. And the wheel was not invented in the 1900s. It was believed to be built by the Mesopotamian people around 4000 BC. So try not to sound so dumb as hell.
Well, for starters, you fucking lipless, moist towelette, exactly who are you referring to when you say our country, exactly? So we're supposed to take the word of a couple of angry aspirin apes screaming into a microphone whose ancestors were nothing but a bunch of Mayflower maggots that damn near ceased to exist had it not been for the Native Americans that found their melanin-deficient, sun-dodging ashes washed up on shore and ironically didn't know how to wash their asses and only idea of hygiene was changing their fucking underwear? I literally couldn't make this shit up, even if I wanted to. Y'all didn't build or discover this fucking country, yet y'all been pushing that lie for how many centuries? But even if we were to entertain the idea that you were even close to being right, I challenge you to call this person a liar.
African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that, okay? I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right?
What's that saying you stitchless baseballs love to use? Oh yeah, facts over feelings. But hell, even if you didn't want to take the word of old Mango Mussolini, you couldn't whitewash that part of history, even if you fucking wanted to. Also, if you weren't so busy fisting your sister while she reads to you from a pop-up book and did a little research, not only would you learn that not all of Africa looks like this, it actually looks a lot more like this. And this. And this. But I guess old Crotch News didn't tell you that part, did they? Oh, and by the way, Pasty Pilgrim, Africa is not a country. It's a fucking continent, which is made up of multiple different countries. Also, we were building our own shit in Africa before a bunch of sunscreen scallywags and powder wigs came and snatched us up, threw us on a boat, packed us like sardines, brought us here because they were too fucking lazy and pink to do the work out there in the hot sun without getting burned. Also, why do y'all fix y'all non-existent lips to talk so much shit about Africa when y'all got y'all own problems here in America? As if people who look like you not really out there living in places like this. Or this. Sweet home Alabama. Ding! Hell, y'all was so damn lazy and run down that y'all didn't even know what to do after Lincoln freed the slaves. That's why he had to sign an executive order, aka the 13th Amendment, to let y'all re-enslave us legally. The main people who look like you that got rich in this country did so by exploiting people for cheap labor. Oh, what, and did you just forget about all the shit that we built here in this country, even with segregation and Jim Crow? You probably don't remember this, but I'm sure your Meemaw and Pawpaw do. Still not ringing a bell? How about now? Maybe this map will refresh your memory. Also, let's address the elephant in the room to the fact that you wouldn't even be able to create, edit, and upload this bullshit ass content had it not been for all the cobalt and coltan that exists in the world. And for those of you who don't know, cobalt and coltan are minerals that are commonly used to power small electronic devices like cell phones, cameras, laptops, microphones, etc., etc. I'll give you one guess as to where all the cobalt and coltan is found in the world. Well, paint me white and call me Hellmans. Sounds like an economic powerhouse to me, alright? Y'all don't want to live with us, but you can't live without us. Y'all know it and it makes you fucking sick to your stomach. If black people never existed, then neither would the land that your privileged ass is standing on today. You fucking chowder chimp. Now go build my cities back that you and the rest of those cave dwellers burned down. On the land that y'all stole from it too.
Africa, how great is that built? Tell me.
Africa was a thriving continent until white people got there. Kings, queens, they built civilizations while motherfuckers that look like you were just learning how to eat their rats over an open fire. You know, when white people talk about Africa, it's always funny to me. Always. And the biggest reason it's funny is because where exactly are y'all getting your fucking information about what Africa is, was, and always has been? Oh, Tarzan movies. You don't look like the sort of person that's ever cracked open a history book. You don't. So the idea of, wow, Africa had whole ass civilizations. Outstanding. Yeah, that. My brain don't go that high. If all the other countries on earth were so great, why do you have to exploit rubber and cobalt and coltan from the Democratic Republic of Congo today? Why do we have white men still over there stealing emeralds, diamonds, sapphires, things of that nature? And then you have disinformation huts like these swole meat for no reason ass podcasts who I ain't never opened no history book. I just watch Tarzan movies and that's where I got my history from. Saying shit like this. I would really think white people would have learned not to say shit about the continent of Africa or the countries therein, because the guilt of the exploitation and rape of the countries on the continent of Africa is still ongoing. Still, to this day. And y'all have the nerve to talk about the civilizations over there? Are you fucking for real right now? How would you like it if you got ready to build your house, right? You and your family, you found some acres of land. You're going to build your own fucking house. Well, then I just came in, and while you were still building that house, or when the house was completed, I just take every valuable thing out of it, you know, and then make you guys actually mine the land for oil and minerals and shit like that I want. Then I'm going to just take them the fuck away and keep your family doing this for generation after generation after generation. And then about 5 generations later, my fucking great grandkids talk about you and your fucked up family in that shitty ass house that y'all live in. I need Caucasian people to keep Africa out of your mouth. Either you're going to learn the history, in which case you're going to be like, wow, I shouldn't say that, or you're not going to learn the history, and we're going to remind you that certain venereal diseases were brought about on human civilization because people that look like you couldn't stop fucking animals. Just saying.
Fucking didn't even invent the wheel until the 1900s.
Well, you look at what.
I mean, clearly that guy's a douche, but it's so typical for guys who, I hate to say this, but guys who look like that to say shit like that. I mean, and I mean, people did videos on that first part. Oh, you didn't fucking build this country, blah 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 blah, and that's good. That's great. People served them on that. Why in the world did nobody stitch that part? Didn't invent the wheel. You're talking about the continent of Africa, not the country, mind you. They didn't invent the wheel until the 1900s. Does he understand what the term invent means? I mean, didn't invent the wheel until whoa. I mean, it's the constant gaslighting for me. I mean, it's the digital age. Why in the world are these people afraid to use a smart device? Oh yeah, you got to be smart. Well, but yeah, the first wheel, or the wheel, I guess, has been narrowed down to around the 4th millennium BC, 3500 BC, and it was 1500 years later that the Sumerians and whatnot started to hollow it out to make it lighter, right? So it can move faster, blah 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 blah. Well, of course, and they got chariots and all this other stuff, none of which came out of Europe. I'm just saying, you didn't build that shit. You didn't build it. And then his homeboy over there, but you're not wrong. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's wrong. He's wrong. So, lesson here, folks. Whenever you see a guy with a bent up, dirty, American flag hat on there with the, half shaven, looking a little sus, chances are they probably don't know a goddamn thing about America nor the planet. They just know what it's like to be white, because that's what they hang their hat on, no pun intended. They didn't invent that till the 19th century. Somebody want to tell him he's about, 2,300 years off.
You didn't build shit.
For an individual like him to say that, they already lost. The war hasn't been fought yet, and they already lost. Because why would the oppressive class or the oppressive race make a statement like that if they have no worries? They're losing.
Hey, see, these the type of white people I can't stand, right? Because we were already here, one. Two, you came over here as an immigrant, so you couldn't build your own country yourself because you weren't welcomed in your own country. You got kicked out with the Pilgrims and the Puritans, sent to the Netherlands, and then the Netherlands didn't want you and they still wanted to control you, so they sent you over here. Okay? So why don't you go back to your country and build your country? Oh, because you can't. And then you keep going with this musty-ass narrative of saying Africa is just so depleted when they have cities just like we do. So you want to keep talking about the sticks, what would be the equivalent of the country right here. Have you ever been to Alabama in the sticks? Same deal. I think you need a refund on your education. And how's about you close your mouth sometimes? Because the shit that's spewing out of your mouth is the equivalent of a backed up sewer system in New York, bro.
You didn't build shit.
Who built it then? Who built it? And what country would that be? What country am I from? Right. Y'all talk out y'all asses an awful lot for people who have no asses at all. But I digress. It's an economic powerhouse here in the United States because of me and my people. It was your lazy asses that didn't want to do no work. You wanted all the land, you wanted all the wealth, but you didn't want to do none of the work for it. Instead, you dehumanized a group of people. And speaking of Africa, y'all are still dehumanizing that group of people in Africa. Africa is the wealthiest continent in the world. Africans are really the wealthiest people with the most natural resources in the world. But because of you colonizers, they can never have control of their own natural resources. So let's not play games, okay? Y'all would be nothing and have nothing if it wasn't for the melanated people of the world. Let me remind you that you are the minority globally, okay? That means we were here a lot longer. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't even know how to wash your asses. You still be living in a cave, in the Caucasus caves, stinking, okay, filthy, diseased. You want to talk about it's not a great, yeah, America's a powerhouse because of us, because of what we built, because of our free labor, our forced free labor. Never forget that. I know y'all like to, but you can't, and I will never let you forget that. Not to mention, it's always you so-called patriots that have absolutely no idea what the fuck you're talking about, know nothing about the country that you are a patriot of. We were here. Okay? Yes, we mixed eventually, but we were already here. There's nothing that y'all have that y'all haven't stolen and plundered and dehumanized and unalived and brutalized violently people around the world to get. Let's be clear. Y'all are not smart. Y'all are not even inventive. Because I dare you to be in your house and go a day without using any of the inventions that my people invented in this country, that they couldn't even get the patents for in most cases. Try turning on a light in your house. Try going without lights for a day. Huh? Electricity. Go without anything that has a heating coil. Right. Go without anything that has a cooling coil. Instead of getting your lazy ass in the elevator, walk the steps. Take the steps. Take the stairs. It's always one of y'all. Pale demons talking shit. Go learn up before you put your face and your thin lips in front of a microphone thinking you telling somebody something. Because you sound ignorant and dense and full of yourself. And why are you so full of yourself? Why? I could take one look at you and know those muscles, that ain't yours. I know you injected for that. You know how I know? Because y'all not built like that naturally. But we are. Stop being lazy. Go crack some books. And not by the people who share your ideologies. Because they're just as ignorant as you are. Go crack some books and seek the truth about this country. And who the real owners of this land are. Okay? And make sure you do all that before you put your thin lips in front of a microphone again. Sitting there in all y'all anti-black racism talking shit. Goofy ass.
You didn't build shit.
Go back and watch his video. He think he speaks truth to power. We did build our own country. This country. This land. This soil. Great old America. That your prisoner ancestors came and stole. We're not African. I don't understand why y'all keep saying that. We're not African. Not African. We did build our own country. This one. And for the life of me, I can't fathom or I can't understand. I can't put in my mind the thoughts that go through you all's head. I think y'all just say stuff like that to try to provoke these types of conversation, but it's cool. Explain to me how people who can't even deal with the sun built something as extensive as the White House, the Capitol building, these monuments, this, that, and the third. Explain that. So was it all built in the wintertime in 50 below temperatures? Y'all can't even stand in the sun for 15 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to blister and burn. So explain to me, how the hell did y'all build any fucking thing? Literally, that's all I need to know. Stop discrediting my people. Don't just, this is getting ridiculous. How many different languages do we have to learn in order to tell you we did build our own country? Turtle Island. We are the Aboriginal Niji of Turtle Island. Not finna go off. I'm not finna say all this crazy stuff, but I just need y'all to understand that y'all are not right. It's something wrong in the head with someone who thinks like you. It's something wrong with you. It's definitely somewhere. Your ancestors were prisoners. You didn't know much about, your royalty didn't know much about Turtle Island, so they just sent you all to the Americas because they didn't want the paupers, the prisoners, the poor, the this, the that. They didn't want you all. So they put you on ships to come over here, be processed in through Ellis Island, and work. What does that sound like to you? Men, women, and children, whole families. Y'all claim we came over here on ships. That's a goddamn lie. We always been here. Y'all the ones that came over here on ships. So, stop it with these silly narratives. Oh, you didn't build nothing. Look at Africa. Look at Africa. What the fuck they got to do with us? Go talk to the Africans about Africa. Talk to them about that. Talk to the Gambians and the Zambians and the South Africans and the Nigerians and the Ethiopians and the Eritreans. Talk to them, the Ghanaians, about Africa, because that's not we don't have much to do with the continent. I think our old life started on the continent, but at the same time, just let's be mindful. Okay.
The way it was so loud and wrong at the same time. It's almost as if a Black American person has taken a spot or a seat that it was supposed to sit on. And the way he set that microphone, knowing fully well that that thing is loud, and say, oh, they did not build our country. If they build our country, look at the country of Africa. Why can't they go there and do the same? This man sounded like everyone in Africa is living in a hut and their house is just built with mold, clay, and stuff like that. And then their own people are living in high-rise building, getting the view and all of that. And it's very funny that it is the ones who did not even contribute anything that are so upset. Literally just saying our country, like the way he was speaking, the ego in what he was even saying, you can tell that a Black person has hurt this man. And from all the wrong thing he said, it is so very obvious that history is not a strong point. Like, he doesn't know so much about history, but he might as well do himself a favor and not say anything. Another thing that I even find very jarring in that podcast or on that clip is that the people around him, maybe they probably know that he's saying the wrong thing, but they are not even saying anything. They are just carrying on with the conversation. So what exactly is the purpose of that podcast when you sit down there and pass wrong information? Maybe this is the effect of scraping history in school. Maybe this is what they want to start saying. They want to literally whitewash history. Because after stealing from Africa, after getting everything they want from Africa, they can now come come back and whitewash history to make it fit into the narrative that would not paint them as a bad person. But there is no way they want to talk about history that you will not know where these white people literally stand. And he was talking about they going back to build their own country. Many parts in history where these people will literally burn down neighborhoods that Black people created for themselves. Black people will go all out to create a safe space for themselves, and they will literally get jealous at the fact that they are coming together in unity and burn down this neighborhood. Maybe he hasn't checked his history to that point, and that is the reason why he's very, very loud, upset, and wrong. There's so many people in the comment section recommending history book for him to go and read. The education system had failed him and is getting the wrong information because he needs to stay up to date. You cannot be wasting so much energy, so much anger, and still be wrong with a freaking loud voice. This person said, Africa is a continent with 54 individual countries. Some, like Botswana, have good and stable economics. This just took me 5 minutes to look up. From this profile picture is a white man, so I love the fact that he said that because we are all saying the same thing. He's not using his phone, he's not using his browser, he's not using his Google. He's not making use of the material he has with him that he was able to get just because Black people put in the work. Another person said, when USA leave Africa alone, they will be better than USA. No evil without USA. That's the truth, because even after colonization, they said colonization ended, but we still know there are still some things that are going on. Another person said, Africa is purposely being destabilized by superpowers to keep it from being an economic powerhouse genius. It is the richest place in the whole world. I'm sure he has heard this several times. Maybe we need to start screaming this to this man and tell him that Africa is the richest place in the whole world, so he will know that there are still more things that he needs to be angry about. Another person said, this just proves everyone doesn't need a voice. This dude should do some studying. At least if you're going to be so freaking loud, even with a microphone, because I'm sure he's already loud without a microphone. So if you know you're loud without a microphone and then you still see the need to use a microphone, you might as well do your research before you use that microphone. Another person said, typical redneck. Show how stupid you are. Europe colonial stealing of riches of Africa, not allowing to progress. Have a little of dignity, get yourself some education. Another person said, this is our problem. White people standing by while ignorant white people allow it. That's exactly what I was talking about. The people in the room were just carrying on with the conversation like he said something very meaningful. Like, it's very, very crazy. The last one I have said, funny how telling his choice of words are our country, some of you, your country, talk about entitlement. They use the cup of entitlement to drink every single day. In fact, at this point, it's not surprising that he even sounded like that while talking about it. Ego is always high when they want to talk about the minorities. Let me hear what you guys think in the comment section. Let's continue this conversation there. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe before you go and turn your bell notification on. And I will see you guys in the next one.